Hi everyone. Last class we have been discussing about the queueable class, queueable Apex and the future Apex. And we have seen how to use the queueable Apex, what are the properties and what is the skeleton structure of the queueable Apex and what is the interface that we have used in order to implement the queueable Apex. And a couple of real-time scenarios we have seen. And also we discussed about the interview questions, Garner limits, and the assignment. Did anybody complete the assignment, whatever we have given last time? Okay, so let's start it. Today, the main session is chaining. Okay, so, and also where to use, when to use any asynchronous Apex class, or what can we call in what. So these are the one which we are going to discuss. So as I mentioned last time, the queueable Apex is equal to the future Apex. The only difference between the queueable Apex and the future Apex is using the queueable Apex, we can monitor and the ID gets generated. And based on that ID, we can find or we can trace whatever is happening in the process. We can identify using the async Apex job. That query we can run it on that particular object. And second use case is chaining. So today we will talk about the chaining. What is a chaining? Chaining is nothing but connection. Is nothing but a connection. So queueable in asynchronous Apex, queueable is only one where we can use or we can call everything. Only the queueable Apex has that flexibility. Is only one where we can call everything. When I say everything or any asynchronous. Could be a batch class, we can call the batch class, could be a future class, we can call the future class, could be a schedulable, we can call the schedulable Apex. Right? So inside this queueable Apex class, this can call the batch Apex, hence it is called the chaining. So whenever we wanted to connect, for example, let's say one example for the chaining. Whenever I wanted to connect, there is a one logic which we have written in the queueable Apex. Okay. After executing that, I wanted to connect the batch class. That means inside the queueable, I'm writing some logic. Okay, after the logic, I wanted to connect a batch class. I wanted to connect the batch class. And after the batch class, I wanted to schedule something, schedule some other work. Okay. After the schedule, I wanted to call the future. And then I'll have in my own logic. So we are chaining the each one. We are connecting the logic each one. Like first I'm executing some custom logic here inside the queueable. Then I'm calling the batch class. Then I'm calling the schedulable Apex. Then I'm calling the future class. Then I have some custom logic that needs to be executed. So this is what these all are individual, right? But if I wanted to connect the chain, like once this is updated some data in the record, then only the schedulable should work, or only the future should start after updating the data. So in those scenarios, we use the chaining Queueable Apex class to do this kind of a logic. So let's go ahead and see how to implement and how to do the connection or how to do the chaining. So CL underscore 0207 underscore. Let's say this is the Queueable chaining. Okay, just a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a Queueable Apex class first. So in order to implement the Queueable Apex, we have to use the interface implements Queueable. We have to use the interface Queueable, right? Inside this, we have to have a public void execute method. And inside the execute method, by default, the parameter is Queueable context QC or QA. Fine, this is the structure. Now I'm done with the structure of Queueable Apex is over, right? Now inside the Queueable Apex, what can I call? What can I call? Can I call the Queueable? Can I call another Queueable inside this? Inside execute method? The answer is yes. We can call the Queueable method. And can I call the batch inside this? Yes, we can call the batch also. Can I call the future? Yes, we can call the future. So basically Queueable is a flexible tool where it will act, we can call everything or anything of the asynchronous. Let's assume that we have implemented some batch class, right? Let's find out the batch class, open resource. Batch Apex. Perfect, so I'll use this class. Now let me call the batch class here. In order to call the batch class, I have to first initialize this. BA equal to new. And how do we execute the batch class? Database dot execute batch. And what we need to pass the batch. We need to pass here. Right? So now I wanted to call the future method. So the first one is, this is calling the batch class. Where are we calling the batch class? Inside the Queueable Apex. right? Inside the Queueable Apex, we are calling the batch class. Now, can I call the future method? Yes, we can call the future method also. Let me get the future method. Yeah, this is the future method which we had implemented. So let me call that future method. How to call the future method? I need not to initialize the future method because it's a static. It's a static methods we have. So directly I can call method 3. Perfect. So this is calling future method or future class. Right? Now, next thing is that I wanted to call a schedulable class. I wanted to call a schedulable class, or I wanted to schedule something. Do we have anything schedulable Apex? Yes, we have. So this is the schedule Apex, right? So now I wanted to call this schedulable Apex. Let's say SA equal to new. The class initialization is done. Now for schedulable, I have to give the cron expression. So let's declare the CRN equal to, let's assume that 0 seconds, 0 minutes, let's assume 11 p.m. and the date is the 2nd, month is 3rd month, March month, week, I do not know the week. So year 2022, or let's say 2023, or we can give the today's date also. Today's date is 02 and the month is 07. So that today night, this is the today, right? 02/07/2022, yes. And today night 11 p.m. I wanted to schedule it. Perfect. Now let me go ahead and schedule it. System dot schedulable. System dot schedule the job name. Let's give the job name as this is running from Queueable. And cron expression CRN. And which schedulable we are scheduling it? This one. Perfect. So what is this? This is calling the schedule the Apex. Schedule the Apex. Right? Now after this, if I wanted to call another queueable method. So far we have not called the queueable. We have called the batch, future, schedulable. Now let me call the queueable. We have some queueable method here, which we have written like this is what we have updated yesterday, right? Or there is another one. Let me take this. Perfect. This is the queueable. QA equal to new, the class name, initialization is done. Now how do I execute this? System dot enqueue job. What is the job that we have to give? QA. Okay, this is a queueable Apex. Right? Now this is what we have implemented. This is a queueable class. We are calling the batch, we are calling the future, we are calling the schedulable, we are calling the queueable, another queueable. So if you have a question, can I call the queueable Apex inside the future job? Yes, we will discuss that. Yes, we can call that. Can I call the future Apex inside the schedulable? Yes, we can do that, right? So, but let's understand inside the queueable, what we are doing, we are calling all the asynchronous process. We are calling all the asynchronous process, right? Now, let me go ahead and create a one more batch, one more class. Or if I run this one, like if I execute this, what will happen? There is a job ID gets created and these all will be scheduled. Fine. Till this point, is it clear? Yeah, there is a construction work is going on. So you might hear some background noise for today. So right now, if I schedule this, debug, open, open the anonymous window. Let's initialize this. QC equal to new, the class name. And then let's go ahead and schedule this system.debug. System.debug, sorry, system.enqueue job. And this is the queueable Apex. Right, if I run this, the batch is going to run. It is going to create a job ID at the backend. There are two logs are created here. Now, if I go to the setup job, Apex jobs, bit slow, but ideally this is going to happen. So it is today queueable is completed. So all of them are executed perfectly fine. So now the question is, can I call the queueable class inside the batch class or inside the schedulable class? Can I call it? Yes, we can call it. So there is a scenario. I wanted to send an email on the birthday. Okay, send an email or on my birthday. Whenever my birthday is there, for example, July 10th, okay? July 10th, I wanted to send an email. So what I'll do in the schedulable class, I will implement the logic. What logic we will implement? We will implement a email triggering logic. Email triggering logic, I'll implement it in the schedulable class, right? On my birthday, I wanted to receive an email. I wanted to receive an email. At the same time, I wanted to call or I wanted to schedule another email. So on July 10th, send me an email, as well as at the end of 31st December, schedule another email. So what I can do is basically, we have already written the Queueable Apex class, right? So let me create a new class, CL_0207. Let's say that this is a queueable schedule. Perfect. Now for the schedulable one, this is the class. This is the class, right? Chaining. Okay. Let's assume that this is a schedulable class which we are implementing it. In order to implement schedulable class, we have to use the we have to use the schedulable interface. Schedule. What is the spelling? Schedulable, right? Right, perfect. Okay, now it is expecting the execute method, public void, and let's have the execute method. And inside this, we need a schedulable context. Schedulable context SC. Fine. Now inside this schedulable class, I'll call the queueable. Not this one. We have written the chaining. Okay. So let's call the chaining QC equal to new, the class name, and let's go ahead and schedule them or execute this system.enqueueJob. Which one we have to execute? This QC. Now, fine. Public class name, implement schedulable, system.schedulable context. What is wrong? Anything wrong here? System.schedulable execute. What is this?
Yeah, I mean, you are implementing the schedulable. You have to implement the queueable class.
Not really. I'm implementing the schedulable. Maybe some case sensitive or something is there. Schedulable context SC. Inside that, I'm calling the queueable. Yeah, perfect. So what I'm doing is I'm implementing the schedulable. The whole purpose of this class is inside the schedulable Apex class, I'm calling the queueable. So what is the reason for calling? So let's assume that here I have some logic to send an email. Okay, we have a one class to send an email, right? Open resource, email. Did we, I think we have implemented something related to email, right? Where is it? Email. Edit search. Extension. It's a message, Apex message. No. Email. 25, send email. Okay, this is the one. So let's assume that inside the schedulable class, I'm sending an email. which is expected to address subject message. Test. For now, I'm giving here some dummy email. Okay. So first trigger the email. Okay. Trigger the email when on my birthday. This is on my birthday. Trigger one email saying that happy birthday. And immediately run the chaining job. And that chaining job has to implement, like has to send another, it has to schedule another job on 31st night. Let's assume that this is a (23/11/59). And the date is 31st. Month is 12. Okay, so this year end, I wanted to receive another email. So basically send this email on my birthday as well as schedule another email on 31st night. So in the scenario, what will happen? On my birthday, it is going to send, right? Send an email and immediately it will run the queueable chaining job. This chaining job has a batch class, which will update some logic. And then it has a future method, which is going to update some business logic on the low priority. And then it is going to schedule another email or another job, which is going to send an email on December 31st night. Then we have a queueable job, which is going to update some logic. So how do I schedule this? Okay, this is a void. SE equal to, let's initialize the class. And then SE dot send email. So how do I declare how do I schedule this? My schedulable class is this, and SA equal to new class. And then I need to declare a cron expression string. Cron expression equal to, let's assume that (2:30 p.m.). Okay, so I wanted to receive an email at 2:30 p.m. Second 0, 30 minutes, 2:30 p.m. 14. Let's assume that my birthday is on 17 November. Week I do not know. Year 2022. And then I'll go ahead and schedule this. System.schedule. What are the things that I need to give? I have to give the job name. Let's assume that this is the job name is birthday email. Right? And what is the cron expression? This is the cron expression. And what is the class? Class is this schedulable class is SA. Perfect. Is this logic is clear? So I have two jobs here. One is a schedulable job, another is a queueable chain. Okay, this is a schedule apex and this is a chain, queueable chain. Okay. Inside this chain job, we have a different logic that is running. One is custom logic, which is updating some data. And then we have a batch class that is updating the related record information. And then we have a schedule class. We are scheduling an Apex class. This Apex class scheduled is on 31st night. Trigger New Year email. And then we have a future. And then we have a queueable. So these entire different logic is executed in the chain job. Right? Now what is happening? This actually I have scheduled this. Okay. I have scheduled this one. But as soon as I scheduled this to trigger on my birthday, what will happen? It will trigger an email. So basically in the schedule Apex, what I have an email triggering, and also I'm calling the chaining job or chaining Apex class. So as soon as I execute this schedule Apex, first it will trigger the email. And after the triggering the email, it will go to the chain job. Inside the chain job, first it will execute the custom logic. Then it will execute the batch class. Then we have a scheduled, another one we are scheduling to trigger on 31st night. So this one is going to again schedule it. This one is again is going to schedule at the back end to trigger one more email to this customer. Right? Then we have a next future class. And it will execute the future class, it will execute the queue. So this is one way where the chaining job works. Now, if you wanted to understand when to call, who to call, which one to call, so let's go ahead and understand that. So we have what are the asynchronous, future, queueable, schedule, batch, right? So here also future, queueable, schedule, and batch. Now let's understand which one to call, who can call what. Now inside the future method, can I call another future? Inside this future method, can I call another future method? No, we cannot call. Inside the future method, can I call the queueable method? Yes. Inside the future method, can I call the schedule? Yes. Inside the future method, can I call batch? No. And the queueable is flexible. Everything can be called from queueable. So inside the queueable, I can call the future. Inside the queueable, I can call another queueable. Inside the queueable, I can call the schedulable. Inside the queueable, I can call the batch class. When it comes to schedule, inside the schedule, can I call the future? Yes. Schedule also same. Everybody can call inside the schedule. Inside the schedule, can I call the queueable? Yes. Inside the schedule, can I call another schedule? Yes. Inside the schedule Apex, can I call the batch Apex? Yes. And next, coming to the batch, inside the batch class, can I call the future? No. Inside the batch, can I call the queueable? No. Inside the batch class, can I call the schedule? No. Inside the batch class, can I call the another batch? Yes, but in finish method. Yes, but in finish method. Right? So there is a real-time scenario. Okay. I wanted to delete 1.5 lakh records. I want to delete 1.5 lakh records. In those scenarios, which process will I choose it, or which asynchronous process will I choose? The requirement is I wanted to delete 1.5 lakhs. Which process will I choose out of these four?
Batch Apex.
Yes, batch class.
Yes.
That's right. And let's assume that there is another scenario. Okay. I wanted to go ahead and run the process. And that process is some business logic, which is going to take longer time. There is a lot of updates or a lot of cross check we have to do. So that business logic that takes longer time. So in that scenario, which asynchronous we use or which process will I choose to go for as a developer? Shall I repeat the question? I wanted to go ahead and run the process. Okay, that process has some logic, business logic that is going to take longer time. So in those scenarios, which process will I choose?
Execute method.
Which one? Can you repeat that?
Execute method.
Execute method.
Batch Apex inside a developed business logic execute.
Why can't we go with the queueable? So my question is, I have something, the logic, which I need to execute it, okay? But that needs to take a lot of time. Okay, it might take 1 hour or 2 hours. The reason
Yes,
for
sir.
that.
Yes, sir. In this situation, we can use queueable.
Okay. Yes, queueable. Why can't future? Because queueable will have I can use the queueable because which is on the high priority and I need the data and I need what is happening at the back end. So that's the reason I would go for the queueable. So let's assume another scenario. Okay, I have I want to process the data or I wanted to process a logic which is a less on priority and more on time consuming. So which process will I go for?
Future method.
Yes, future method. The reason for future method is I do not need to track. I do not need here tracking because it is a less experience, less on priority. Okay, at the end, I wanted to update some data, but I do not worry. There is a less priority on updating or checking the data on that. Maybe I can come tomorrow and cross verify. So there is a less on priority, right? So that's the reason I can go with the future. Now, let's say another scenario. I wanted to send a birthday email. Which process do I choose?
Schedule method.
Schedulable Apex.
Yes. Perfect. So like based on our decision, which one to go ahead. So we have to choose it very carefully based on the requirement. Okay. Coming to interview questions here. So on the chaining, maximum 1 or 2 questions can come up. So how chaining works in Queueable Apex? How chaining works in Queueable Apex? How it works? So the easy answer is chaining allows us means developer or whoever is working on that. Chaining allows us to customize the execution order. We can customize the execution order of a set of jobs. In a process. What is the benefit of using the chaining job or how the chaining works in the Queueable? Simply straightforward. Chaining allows us to customize the execution order of set of a jobs in a process. Like once it is executed the custom logic, I can go with the batch class. Once it is done with the batch class, I can go with the schedule. So I can customize it. If I wanted to execute the future method after the custom logic, I can remove from here, I can put it after the custom logic, right? So I can customize it. As a developer, I can customize the execution order of a set of jobs. Whatever the jobs are running in a process, I can customize that and place it in the order. So let's say there are n jobs, like there are so many jobs are there, right? So in the scenario, like I have a job, B job, C job, and so on. There are so many are there. We have a process in which A has to run first and give the output to B. And then B runs and gives the output to C. And same thing, whatever the, if there is any input is expected from the any class, put that class or put that job or put that Apex, asynchronous Apex before the execution of other one. So that what will happen, instead of calling the individual queuable jobs, right? If I write these all, it will be like an individual jobs, right? Instead of doing the individual jobs, we can link all this and call the logically with the queuable jobs, right? Now I have a multiple thing that needs to be executed. A job has to be executed, B job has to be executed, later on C job has to be executed. But if I put everything in the chaining, what will happen? This everything linked to the one job and these jobs will be get executed. So that is the real time and the interview best to answer that. And coming to real time. In real time, let's assume that after running the first queueable, like it will execute some custom logic on the first queueable. Right? After the first queueable, I wanted to get the token from the callout. Get the token and validate it. And validate the token. Then call the next queueable. Next queueable to update user data and call another callout. So in those scenarios, we use the chaining. Like if I have a multiple jobs which is connected to the same API, okay? I have a same API which is connected, multiple jobs are connected to the same API. First it will go and cross verify, second time it will get the data, third time it will validate and send the proper information. So in those scenarios, what I can do, I can implement the chaining job, which will run one by one. Right? So this is purely the real-time scenario. And coming to governor limits, when chaining jobs, like how many queueable jobs I can implement, like how many system.enqueue jobs I can write in the one queueable. Is different. 50 is we can add up to 50 jobs to the queue. But my question is here inside the chaining, okay, I have a queueable apex here. I have a queueable apex here. Inside this, how many queueable apex can I write it? System.enqueue job. And another, can I write another, like how many maximum I can write the enqueue jobs within this? So one parent queueable is connected to only one child queueable. One queueable class is connected to the only one child queueable. So that means as per the governor limits, can add only one job from an executing job with system.enqueue. Which means only one child job can exist for each parent queueable job. But in terms of execution of the batch, like how many can we add in the single transaction? You can add it 50 jobs. Right? And coming to the assignment, okay. So this is based on the real time and giving the assignment here. Okay. So whenever a new user is created, for a specific profile, you can take any profile, but keep it only one profile here. For any specific profile, that could be a standard profile, system admin profile, anything. No, do not take the system admin, standard profile or sales profile, anything. Okay. Whenever a new user is created for a specific profile, excluding the system admin, then what we have to do? Assign permission set to the user. Assign the permission set to the user. So that means before this, prerequisites are create a permission set with a name, let's say that API permission user. Okay. Create this profile. And whenever the user is created for the specific profile, assign the permission set to that user. So how do we have to implement? We have to implement the Queueable Apex class using the Queueable interface, right? So first thing is that you have to cross verify, is there any user is created? So on the creation of the user, that means you have to write it like on the user, whenever the user is created. This is going to be the daily job. Assume that this is the daily job. So whenever the user is created, you wanted to assign this to the permission set. Here, which is a low priority, okay? So if you want, you can separate a logic, you can write a separate logic in the future job, future Apex, and call that future Apex inside the Queueable. And inside the chaining of the Queueable, you have to first query the permission set and cross verify, get the profile name, right? And then verify the user details, then call the future method to update it. Or you can call the Queueable Apex. You can take any decision, but implement it in the chaining. And there is another assignment. Another assignment is whenever the lead is created, whenever a new lead is created or in a lead is created, create an account by taking the lead information. Means for account creation, we need first name, last name, some billing address, email ID, those all information is required, right? So what are the mandatory information is there? Take it from the lead, like lead first name, lead last name, as well as the create contact. Create a contact by taking the information from lead. So there also contact, it might be required last name, right? So take it from the, as soon as the lead is created, so you will have the lead data there. And if you find for that lead in no accounts, no contact is there, then go ahead and create an account and contact for that lead. And this is the second assignment. Any questions so far on the chaining? Is everybody clear on the chaining part? Chaining Queueable? Yes. Okay, perfect. Let me start.